Hey everyone, it's Mike Huber, Certified Mental Performance Consultant. I've been thinking a lot about the coach-athlete relationship recently. It's something I've always been really interested in all through my study as a Master's of Sports Psychology student up until the current day where I do most of my work with young athletes, and the topic of that relationship comes up quite a bit in my work. And I think, one of the things that I'm finding is that the coach-athlete relationship really has a direct and a lot of times a negative impact on the performance of young athletes. And I want to understand why that is. I think the central issue in the coach-athlete relationship for me is trust. If we can't trust our coaches and our coaches don't trust us, it's going to be really hard for us to be coachable both ways and to make progress. So I wrote this article about the coach-athlete relationship and how we can learn something from a fictional TV character. Coach Eric Taylor on the show Friday Night Lights is a very flawed individual, but certainly a model of someone who understands the coach-athlete relationship. And so, the article gets into depth about some of the things that the character does and how that might translate into real life for other coaches and what they can learn from it. But I think there are three critical things that a coach of young people can think about, take away. And it's really, this is not, everybody's going to coach in a different way and they're going to translate that into their actions differently. But I think there are three principles or three things to be aware of as a coach that are really important. One for me is apologizing, right? As a coach, we have a tendency, as an adult, we have a tendency to expect athletes or young people in general to heed our words. And we're the adult, they're the young person, what we say goes. And if we make a mistake or do something that runs afoul of them, we don't really feel the need to apologize. And I think for me, in my own experiences, with my kids as a parent or as a coach of young people, is when I make a mistake and I'm aware of it, I need to apologize. This builds respect in the relationship to show that it's a relationship of equals rather than a sort of subordinate relationship. But it also helps to sort of gain that trust, which is such a central part of any good relationship, particularly one where there's an adult and a child. The second takeaway is to trust. And perhaps it's redundant, but I think the act of trusting a young person means letting them fail and letting them use their own logic and reasoning and instincts to make choices that they have to learn from, and not necessarily trying to control everything that they do. And I think as adults, as parents, as coaches, this is really something that's hard for us because that's the way we were coached and parented. And I think there's this underlying feeling that we need to be responsible for them by telling them what to do. And I don't think that this is necessarily constructive or frankly true. And finally, I think the last piece is to care, right? And again, maybe they're redundant. These three things are redundant, but showing a young person that you really care genuinely about them as a person and not just as an athlete, and you care about their development and not just the wins and losses, goes a long way, again, to building the respect and the trust that go with or that are required in a really productive and constructive coach-athlete relationship. So that can come in a lot of different forms. Obviously, everybody's different. We all have our unique style. We have our own experiences. We have our own wounds, in terms of the way we were coached, or we have these habits that we have. But I think bringing awareness to the fact that if we can say we're sorry, that we can trust young people to make their own choices and fail in certain instances, and that we really genuinely care about them first as a person rather than as an athlete, I think that will go a long way to building the relationships that are necessary to really have young people be coachable and to make progress in their development on and off the field. So I hope you enjoy the article, and I hope this video was helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.